Now, I'd love to ask you, with everything that we've been hearing about the latest in large language models, such as GPT-3, what does automation have to do with dark data? Andrew?
Yeah, I could take this one. I think at this point, we've all heard about ChatGPT, right? I think what's really amazing and exciting for all of us right here in the webinar here is that I think it's spurred our imagination of the future applications and implications of what this technology can do for us as a society for our day-to-day lives. I would say though, honestly, for enterprise grade use cases today, something like ChatGPT, I would say is still on the spectrum of what I call like a shiny new toy on the innovation curve. So what I mean by that is ChatGPT as a business for you is not going to answer a specific FAQ question about your specific business. It's also not going to be able to complete an action based on your specific business operations. And so I think what's really interesting, and also my personal perspective is, I think long-term net, I think the model providers and also the applications built on top of these models will get commoditized and competed away. I think long-term, what's most interesting and the most valuable asset in the market is actually the proprietary data that each business has that's specific to them, right? And so that's what's really exciting for me at Dashbot, and I think the whole team here is the mission of marrying very innovative technologies like large language models with this dark data that businesses are already sitting on and want to unlock, and essentially taking that data and training things like LLMs over them to then introduce innovative automatable use cases into these organizations. So I wanted to paint context there. I think even before that, fundamentally, I actually think businesses need to take a data-first approach, right? You can take this dark data that you're sitting on, analyze it, ingest it, and actually find out insights today that can inform future automatable use cases and ways to actually deploy successful innovation in your organizations. So that's my quick take there.
That's super cool, Andrew. I just had that visual of the iceberg again, 90%. And the fact that organizations have this conversational data, it sounds very accurate. We need to think about it from a data-first approach, understand what's happening in that conversational data, get the insights, and then think about how you can automate for the future of your organization's success. Paul, is there anything you'd like to add about what automation has to do with dark data?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Andrew. I agree with everything you said. I wanted to provide a different lens based on my experience on the ways we think about how you can unlock this dark data. And based on my experience, I've seen enterprises trying to do this through chatbots. I recently worked at Rasa, as I mentioned, which is one of the largest open source NLP platforms on earth. And I've really seen companies try to take a myriad of approaches through bot initiatives to try to get automation off the ground. And unfortunately, a lot of these approaches just never worked. And they really all hindered on methodology or specific principles such as intent-driven development. And I think a lot of folks in this audience are very familiar with what that means. The other one I found was CDD, or conversation-driven development, which is really something that might be new and not familiar to the audience, which is just taking conversations to inform you as a conversational designer how to build bots. And then there's this one that we came up with at Dashbot that really gets me super excited, and that's called data-driven development. And that really lends into our philosophy and methodology around data first, which is really taking a different approach from what the market has been doing today. And if you think about the way the market does things today, you have some sort of domain expertise. So therefore, you assume that based on that domain expertise, you're going to go build a chatbot as a conversational designer. And then through that experience, you're going to try to build out this initiative through digital transformation or customer experience, a journey that you perceive to be the best one for your end user, which is your customer. And then you figure out that through that, somehow or another, there's conversations that the bot can't handle, and therefore that continues to get escalated, and there's really no contextual awareness for the agent, and just things keep breaking, and there's no really meaningful impact that you can show based on whatever KPIs or measurement stuff you have today. Data first says that instead of doing it that way, let's try something new. Let's try something fresh. Let's introduce to the world this approach, which allows you to truly look at this unstructured data, whether it be from your customers that are on SMS or voice or bot transcripts through an omni-channel approach, a real visual insight into what they're really saying. And again, if you think about this economy, most companies now are going to live and die by how they answer this, how they solve for this, how they address this. And if the challenge still today is understanding as a conversational designer how to improve my NLP model by understanding those insights, this can help you. If my business and job as a product owner is to productize this in a way that produces some sort of meaningful impact, understanding these types of insights from this unstructured data can help you. And if I take it a step further and you really think about what is the day-to-day or larger impact on you as a business, it's pretty safe to say we all watch the news. You may not be in business. You may have your job on the line. There's some real significant impacts out there that we see all the time happening because companies just don't get this right. And I think based on my experience, when I talk about this top to funnel approach, whether you're a conversational designer building chatbots, or the person on the back end, because that chatbot can't contain that conversation, so therefore that has to be escalated to an agent. Think about the human element to this. If the agent continues to not have contextual awareness or insight into the specific conversation that customer is trying to resolve or have, or provide an awesome experience along that journey, more often than not, that customer is going to not only provide some negative feedback, which impacts your CSAT score, that agent is going to have a lot of pissed off people. They're going to probably quit. The contact center director or the person that's responsible for these employees, which tend to be in the hundreds or tens of thousands, will also not be able to impact the culture. So you have a churn problem, you have a retention problem, you have a training problem. For the person that's responsible for improving to make those conversations more automatable, so the agents can focus on more impactful conversations that drive some sort of type of outcome, then you're not able to do that because you're just not driving the right, you don't have the right data or insights from that data or visibility into that data to design a bot that can help automate a lot of those conversations for the agents. So it's a cyclical effect from top to bottom. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a real impact on revenue. We're talking about a real impact on customers churning and leaving. We're talking about a real impact on your employees quitting. We're talking about a real impact on the projects that a lot of y'all might be working on today that just don't have an impact, that get shelved because there's no way to define what those KPIs or measure what that success is, no matter what industry you're in. And those are just some of the cyclical things as an impact if you can get the valuable insight into understanding what that data means to you and your business, no matter what your role. And I think everyone in the audience has seen this. I think everyone in the audience can feel that. And I think everyone in the audience has seen in the news how when companies don't get this right, companies shut doors. They're laying off tens of thousands of people. And that's where we are today. And I think Dashbot, which gets me really excited, can help everyone in that audience right now.
Thank you, Paul. I just got so excited because what I'm hearing from you is it's no longer good enough just to deploy a bot, right? It's no longer just good enough to just go off of assumptions and build something that's digital. We now are at that point where we're able to get these three things. What I'm hearing from you is the context. We need it to be relevant and personalized. As a brand for a company, both on the internal employee retention side, and of course, to have that authentic relationship with our customers and clients. And at the end of the day, it all turns to the revenue aspect of it, right? It's this untapped source of data that can be unlocking so many different opportunities for automation and beyond.